All right, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. I'm here with a guest who is new to the show, but not new to the city of Winnipeg. I know you've been making music for a long time, and I'm sure we'll talk about
Mhm.
all of that. But I think the best way to start this off is if you want to introduce yourself and give a bit of background about what you do as an artist.
My name is Kid Capone, and what I do dancehall reggae, culture reggae. So I mostly sing vocally. I mostly do vocal. I don't really play instruments.
Yeah,
So so that's my style. And I'm always in the city trying to make the music better.
that's a good goal to have, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've been doing this for a long time. I mean, I feel like I know I've seen you live a few times over the years. I not so much lately, but I used to try to get out to as many reggae shows as I could,
Uh-huh.
going back even 20 years or so now. So I've seen you perform. How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this now for probably 20 years or more, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
just
what is? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
it's just something I like to do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what is Winnipeg like as a city for reggae? Because I mean, I know there's a small community that is very passionate about the music, and there are a number of artists, but it's still a fairly a niche genre in Winnipeg. What has it been like, sort of, as an artist here playing this style of music that maybe isn't as mainstream as some other styles?
Um, I think in Winnipeg here it's kind of like now things is getting way better than it was before. But before it was kind of slow. People would say go to Toronto, or you shouldn't stay here and stuff like that. But when I look around, I see the artists in Toronto struggling too. So it doesn't really make much of a big deal. You just have to keep fighting the battle wherever you are.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that artists of any style, any genre, get told the same thing. Like, you can't do it in Winnipeg. You got to go to Toronto. You got to go to the States or wherever
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
Have you seen? I mean, like you said, things are getting a little better now. How have you seen the reggae scene grow in Winnipeg over the past few decades?
Well, I seen it grow because we got a new generation of kids coming out now and stuff like that. So there's more people than um than there used to be that's really into the reggae music, you know what I mean? So that's the part that I see is getting very exciting right now.
Yeah. Do you think that that's more? Do you think it's because reggae is being introduced to more people, or are there more people coming to Winnipeg and making home here that already were into reggae? Is it sort of expanding beyond its original sort of audience, or what do you think?
Yes, I think it's expanding.
That's good. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think it's expanding a lot right now because I don't know. A lot of people start to catch on to that Jamaican vibes, and everybody's coming back with that dancehall vibes and stuff like that. So I think, yeah, for the younger crowd, I hear them playing it in the car more. You know what I mean? I hear the music bouncing around more. So
yeah.
it's growing more.
Well, I think dancehall is one of those genres too that has kind of found its way into all these other styles too. I think a lot of people are playing other types of music, not even knowing that dancehall and that reggae is at the root of what they're playing.
Exactly, right?
Yeah,
Afro beats and all of these things, yeah. Calypso, it's still the same.
yeah, yeah. It all comes from the same source.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, as an artist who does, I mean, I guess, what do you think about sort of the style of dance hall that is more popular at the moment? Because I know you as an artist do a lot of cultural stuff, you do a lot of roots stuff, but then obviously there's the more pop influence thing, there's the more sort of mainstream dance oriented stuff, and that seems to be always kind of what is getting more attention from just the wider community. Where do you sort of fit in as an artist who covers cultural topics and has that roots kind of vibe to what you do?
Well, for me as an artist, I'm pretty much I'm adaptable. I got the dancehall style too, and I have the culture style. You know what I mean? So I try to do what the audience need.
Okay, okay.
You know what I mean? And I try to stay on top of it. That means as to what's growing right now, I can do it too. I can
Yeah.
do it too. If I need to do that, I can do that too.
So does the audience's needs does that change from show to show and from sort of event to event, or is that more of a slower progression into different sounds and different styles?
Well, since I've been in Canada, I've been with hip hop groups. I've done a country song with a country singer. So I mean, I've done a couple of house songs and stuff like that. So I've been pretty much all over the map in different style when it comes to the music.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
since you've been doing this for as long as you have, um, do you have any? Do you? I know you have music out. I know you have. It's all on YouTube. It's on SoundCloud. It's various spots. But what do you have out as far as records that you've released in your discography as it is at this point in time? How many albums have you put out, and where can people find that stuff?
I've got some music on YouTube and stuff. YouTube, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. DistroKid have distribute my stuff about. So it's on the platform out there.
So
But
people can
but
find it.
yeah, you can find it. AB Capone or Kid Capone.
Okay, okay. And what is the distinction between the two names? Because I think the first time I heard you, it was Kid Capone, and then now there's the AB Capone, and it seems like there's been a few variations, over the years throughout.
Yeah, well, the AB Capone is more of the culture vibes.
Okay,
You know what I mean? Because I was doing the culture vibes for a while because that's what was going. You know what I mean? So I was doing the culture vibes, and then so I start off as Capone. So I get into the culture vibes, and that was AB Capone. I just put, you know what I mean, Adojah Balance.
okay,
You know what I mean? So it was just a reminder to Adojah Balance, you know what I mean, and stay balanced.
sure,
But
sure.
but I'm still Capone.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What it seems like a few years ago, just with reggae and dancehall in sort of the wider as a wider genre, it seemed like there was definitely a return to the rootsier stuff. I don't know if that's still happening, but there seemed to be sort of a shift in the mainstream stuff too. There was a lot of artists who were definitely going more towards the cultural side, going more towards the root side. Is that still? Do you think that's still there? I mean, I know it's always there, sort of driving in the background, but uh, that kind of resurgence, I guess, of rootsier stuff. Do you think that's still actively happening?
Absolutely, absolutely, because that part never dies, right? That part never dies. Like the mainstream stuff right now, those stuff play for a couple of days or something like that. But the roots and culture will always play all the time
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
because
Yeah,
there's more balance and more understanding in the roots and culture stuff that the whole world can enjoy. You know what I mean? The most of the new stuff these days is just a few words.
yeah, yeah. That's a
Yeah,
good way of putting it. Yeah, for sure. I think
yeah.
so. I think that's right. And I know that you have just looking at your social media and everything. You have some new music coming out. What are you working on at the moment?
Right now, I am working on an album right now. I actually have got a couple of album working on at the same time because I'm working with two different producer,
Okay,
which you know what I mean. So right now I'm working on it's more like a dancehall album coming out right now, which should be dropping anytime soon. And
cool.
I'm doing that with a guy named Kenny Banging.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
So that's from
yeah,
the hip hop side. He's from the hip hop community.
he's from the hip hop community. But I've known him for many years, and him and I have hooked up already and done a few stuff over the years. Some of my older stuff, he collaborate on those stuff too with me.
Okay.
So, but we just got back together now. So we got some good stuff coming out right now.
So when you work with the hip hop scene and with people from the hip hop scene, is that influence coming into what you do? I mean, obviously it's going to come with the people that you're working with, but how much of the hip hop sort of seeps into the music you're creating? I mean, I know the dance hall is the primary genre, but because you're immersed with members of the hip hop community, are their sounds coming into what you do as well?
At this moment, no.
This is strictly dance hall.
It's strictly dancehall at this moment.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
And what was the other? You said you were working on another album as well.
I'm working on another album with a guy named Bigger. His name is Sean.
Okay,
So that one I started a while back with him now. And that's mostly like a culture album. Cause he's mostly like a culture person. So So what I wanted to do now is just to get some stuff out in the mainstream right now. And I figure whatever is on the mainstream is more like the dance stuff, the dancehall stuff and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's where I hooked up with Kenny and I'm doing this dancehall album. But it's a cultural album I'm working on with Sean.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you prefer to keep those two sides sort of separate, two separate projects, or are you comfortable mixing? I mean, I know you said you sort of shift the style depending on the audience's needs and wants, but in terms of recording, do you prefer to keep those two sides separate?
Depends on the music that I'm doing. If the music fits this lyrics, then I'll do this lyrics on this song.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's the way I do it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
But
what
the end
is
of the day, I
oh
guess it boils down at the end of the day is how you mix the album, right?
right, and how involved are you in that process? I mean, obviously you're doing the vocals like you said, but how involved are you in the sort of behind the scenes aspects of your records?
Right now I am handing on with it. Handing on. It's just me and Kenny and that's it.
And is that a role you like to have to be that involved in sort of every aspect of it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's not even about being involved, it's just being there.
Right. Okay.
You
Okay.
know what I mean? Giving an extra eyes and an extra ear and stuff like that, you know? It's just being there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how as a veteran in the local music community, how do you're saying you want to make music that goes into the mainstream that has those elements that appeal to that wider audience. How do you sort of introduce yourself to new listeners at this point in your career? I mean, obviously you've done it over the years and found different audiences and different people, but is it challenging as an artist who's established versus being a new artist to sort of say, this is me. Maybe you are 20 years old, you haven't heard me before, but this is what I do. Is it more of a challenge as an established artist than if you'd been, just coming out right now and doing something completely new?
No, I don't find it a challenge because for some reason people seems to drawn to, I don't know if it's the sound of my voice or what it is, but people seems to drawn to my style.
Okay.
Yeah. So whether it's a new crowd or almost every show I go, people come up to me and say, "Hey man, you know what I mean? I didn't know about you and all of these kind of stuff." And then they want to know about me. So and a lot of them are young people.
Yeah.
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 So I don't find it challenging at all.
That's good. That's a good thing. Yeah. Yeah. This is maybe more of a sort of a broader question, but what do you think is the ongoing appeal of dancehall? Because I started listening to it in the '90s. My record collection is full of Capleton and Sizzla and Buju and all this stuff. And I listen to some newer stuff, but definitely not as much. But it shifts and it goes back and it changes and it morphs, and for whatever reason, it's always been since its inception. It's been this genre that doesn't go away, right? Like people always love some element of it. And what do you think that is? Why does it have such lasting power?
I think it's the people that it's got good promoters and the young people follow that and people like so to follow what the young people do, right?
Right.
They are the new audience and stuff like that. So I think that's what keeps it going all the time. It's just that young people with the new dance move and and the excitement that they bring to it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything sonically about it though that has sort of lasted over the generations?
Anything say again?
Anything sonically about it? Like, there's something about the sound that works for people around the world year in and year out, right? What do you think that is? Well, what's the? I mean, I know what I like about it, but what do you think is sort of the hook for dancehall that keeps going?
It keeps going.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if it's the rock steady or or just the bounce, as they would say. I think it's just the bounce, but there's many elements to it though. There's many because it all depends on the artist. Like go on a beat and make it sounds way out there, and another guy go on it and it sounds terrible, even though it's the same song.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, yeah, So I think it's all of that has to do with it, the character behind the song that they put out on that beat, and the sound that they have there.
Okay. Okay. Well, as a vocalist and as an artist, what are you looking for in a beat? Like, what kind of beat? You know, regardless of who's producing and who you're working with, what sort of elements are you looking for when you're choosing a beat to use for a song, or you're yeah. What kind of sound do you want to find that makes you know this is a song that will work for your voice and for your style?
Well, for me, I like a little bit of rubber dub with the dancehall in it, right?
Yeah.
Because yeah, I like that kind of that smooth chorus and then a little bit of bounce in the verses. So it's kind of like for me, I like the rubber dub, the heavy bass, and then the bounce in the middle. You know what I mean? The breakdown and stuff like that. So for me, that's what I like to blend both of them together because I have a style like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you
That,
know.
that makes sense for sure. Yeah, I think that kind of combination of those two as well works for in a live setting, right? I mean, the audience, it has that flow to it that the audience can sort of they can sit
Bounce.
back and then they can get into the rhythm. Yeah,
Exactly, exactly.
yeah. So what is the scene like for you as far as performing live? Because I know there's a lot of events that have happened, and it seems like a lot more lately in Winnipeg. Cultural events. But just sort of in general, outside of the specific reggae events, what is it like for you as far as playing shows? I mean, have you done a lot of work? You mentioned earlier you've done music with a country artist. You've obviously worked with hip hop artists. Have you
Yeah.
sort of found a place where you fit in outside of the reggae community? Like, is there does what you do sort of appeal to audiences beyond that? And have you found sort of how to juggle that between the hardcore reggae audience and then people who maybe are interested in some elements of it, but it's new to them?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I find it like the way I am, like how I find it these days is it's pretty simple, you know. It's pretty simple. Because I was in Vancouver, I was there for like 2 years,
Okay.
and it's a totally kind of, it was like a different crowd, and I fit into that crowd without a problem. And then I came back to Winnipeg. So over the past couple of years, I've been just since the COVID, I haven't
Yeah.
done much. Even this year, I haven't performed a lot. So right now, I just figured that I'm coming back with my stuff. So that is my plan right now is to bring it back. But I get a lot of positive review.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get a lot of positive review.
What was the COVID pandemic like for you as far as creativity? Because I talked to a lot of different people who make a lot of different kinds of music, and it seems
Mhm.
like I get one of two answers. Either people say they were super creative, they just sat in the room recording and writing, or the opposite, or they couldn't write at all. They felt completely sort of stifled. Did you have either of those two experiences?
For me, because I went out to Vancouver to do a couple shows,
Yeah,
and then the pandemic caused those shows to cancel. So and then everything started close.
yeah,
So there wasn't much to do, and I was on the road. So the only thing I could do, I got a job there, and I started to do some construction. So I didn't get a chance to do a lot of music
okay, okay.
throughout that time.
So did you get stuck in Vancouver because of the pandemic? Like, is that why you ended up there? I mean, I know you said you were doing a show, but did that sort of you had to stay because of what was going on?
Exactly. I
Okay,
stayed out there. I stayed out there a bit longer because of what was going on.
yeah,
So I got a job, so I figure I'll do some work instead of come home and sit down.
makes sense. It
Yeah,
definitely makes
yeah,
sense. Yeah.
yeah.
As someone from Winnipeg who was in another city experiencing as much as you could during a pandemic, what their scene was like, what their music community was like. How do you think Winnipeg is? Because Winnipeg, I think, I think we punch above our weight as far as music. I mean, we have a small city, small population, but there's just like great artists of all styles. How do you think Winnipeg's music is seen outside of the city? Do you think people realize sort of what we have going on here, or are we still sort of under the radar?
I think outside people see what we got going on here more than the people that's here.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I do because people do respect our stuff out there. Yeah, people do respect our stuff up there. We get good thumbs up from people out there, from Vancouver, Toronto. Good thumbs up.
Yeah. Well, how do we fix that here then? How do we get people who are already here to sort of recognize and realize what we have?
I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I think it's just the audience here is like, I don't think we get enough support here. In a sense of, you put something on and not too many people come out. But people said they want the show, but
Yeah.
when you put the show on, they don't come out. Well, in Vancouver, it's like a totally different thing. It doesn't matter where you go. It could be an open mic.
Yeah.
There's people there. You know what I'm saying? There's people out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Is that
it's kind of like here, if you're not strong, it doesn't give you a lot of motivation to push yourself like that because nobody wants to come out.
right? But the ones that do push past that are the ones that seem to succeed here because there's so many bands and artists that start and a lot of them just they bail, they give up after a few weeks, few
Exactly.
months, and then the ones that stick with it are the ones that tend to get the respect and the appreciation that they've earned, right?
That's what it is. That's
Yeah,
exactly what it is. So you just have to keep doing what you believe. Even though if it's two-person come to the show, that doesn't stop you from doing the show. You keep doing the show, you know what I mean?
yeah. Well,
So that is why
those two people, you've made an impact on them. Even though there's only two of them, they might tell two friends each, and then they bring them to your next show, right? And then it kind of balloons from there.
that's exactly how it goes.
Yeah, yeah,
That's exactly. It's like one and watch the other, right?
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
What I mean, the good thing about this being a podcast, right, is someone can hear it the day it comes out, and this is all very fresh to them, or they could hear it, a year from now, 2 years from now. I've been doing this for a long time. These episodes kind of float around on the internet for forever. But at the moment we're recording this, what do you have coming up as far as upcoming shows?
On the 18th of this month, I got a show coming up. It'll be at the what lounge is this?
Moonlight Lounge.
At Moonlight Lounge. There's a guy named Stylo.
Okay.
Stylo G coming to the city.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah.
yeah. So my friend got me an opening act there.
Cool.
So open for that. And also on August 10th, I have a show coming up at is it August, October?
You said August. Yeah, I think you probably mean October, right?
October, yeah. October 10th at the Jamaican Hall.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
And
that's 1098 Winnipeg Avenue.
yeah, I went to one show there in must have been 2000 or 2001, and it was different. It was a different vibe from the shows. I mean, I'm usually going to punk shows and stuff, right? I was listening a lot to reggae, and it was a very different experience. It was it's cool though. It's cool, and there's such like a strong community support for this stuff. It's great.
Exactly.
Is that sort of home base for you as far as a comfortable place to be performing? I mean, that the audience is they're going to be there for what you're doing, right?
Oh yeah. It's always a comfortable spot performing there.
Yeah.
Because it gives you a vibes of being back home in Jamaica, right? In the dancehall scene, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So you get that kind of vibes, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's always a good vibes performing there.
Cool. And then, if someone's hearing about you for the first time on this show and they want to find out more information, what's the best way to find out what you're up to? I mean, as far as upcoming shows, upcoming releases of music, where should they follow you to learn more?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, a.b.capone. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You know what I mean? I'm all over the platforms.
Cool. And then you have people should stay tuned. You got like you said, you're working on two records, and you've got a couple live shows we just talked about. So yeah, that's I'm glad you're still doing this. I mean, like I said, I think I first saw you play live many years ago, and it's cool to see you're still active.
Thanks, brother. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.